Welcome everyone to Raceface TV. It's championship weekend for the NASCAR world, so just wanted to wish all of the drivers good luck. It should be an exciting 3 races from Homestead this weekend, and by this time next week, we will have crowned all 3 of NASCAR's divisions with a new champion. Or will it be repeat champions? I want to give a quick shout out to Matt Kenseth, who won the race last weekend. Matt, you're going out like a champion. It just amazes me that somebody with your talent doesn't have a ride for next year. So owners, wake up. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. This is our first of a series called Track of the Week. So we'll be going out west to Madera Speedway and track owner Kenny Shepard. But first, we're going to go to our Raceface driver updates. Let's start with Franklin, Wisconsin's Sam Mayer, who was racing at Myrtle Beach this past weekend. Sam brought home a 4th place finish in his number 41 Menards Lee McCall late model. Sam qualified P2, had the fastest lap race, and led 75 of the 100 laps. Let's take a quick look at some of that action. This race also provided some great seat time for this upcoming week's Myrtle Beach 400. Our junior late model drivers Jesse Love and Adam Lemke had the week off, but both were at the 2017 Madera Speedway Awards banquet. You know, we always share things in the media that are negative, but today I wanted to share a short video clip about doing something good. Take a look at this championship acceptance speech from Jesse Love at Madera Speedway Awards banquet.
Spencer, the reason I brought everybody up here is because I want you to know how important it was, how safe I felt, and all the other drivers here. Every time Ron would come and bring down our weld net and just pray with us. So on behalf of everybody and the whole junior late model team, my crew, we would be honored if you would please take home this trophy, because this championship was for Ron. Well, that's about all I got to say tonight. So thank you guys again for coming out, my whole crew, and can't wait for next season.
Now that is class. Both Jesse and Adam will be competing in the final race of the year for the USAC HPD Midget Pavement Series this weekend in the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Raceface driver Buddy Shepard was also at the Madera Speedway Awards banquet, collecting his 2017 RPM Mortgage Pro Late Model Championship hardware. Buddy's looking pretty sporty. Last week we made the announcement that Ryan Vargas had secured one of the positions for the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program with Rev Racing for the 2018 season. He will compete in all of the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East races and the NASCAR Whelen All-American Late Model Series. Earlier this month, it was also announced that Ryan will be the recipient of the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award for the 2nd year in a row. Let's check out this interview that Ryan did with Low Budget TV right before the race last weekend.
Now, it's really cool for us because, Ryan, we always like to keep tabs on our drivers that move up from Irwindale Speedway. Some big news happening this week in regards to your racing career. You're going to be doing a little bit more stuff on the East Coast.
Yeah, this weekend we got a deal with Rev Racing and NASCAR Diversity. Thank you to Max Siegel and all them out there. I'm really thankful for the opportunity that I'll have next year. Hopefully I can show my stuff on the K&N East side, and you know, just going to learn as much as I can and take every opportunity with a big smile.
Yeah, and not to mention that, we also recently heard how, once again, you guys were able to take home a cool award for racing, the Wendell Scott Award. Let's talk about that, what it means.
Well, the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award is given to a minority female or male driver from throughout the U.S. and Canada. And it's just kind of like the highest ranking in the Wheeling National Points. This last year I got it and I was ranked 65th. This year I was ranked 16th. So we had a little bit of an improvement there. And I'm just, again, very blessed to have been able to receive this award not only once but 2 years in a row. And I mean, I got to say thank you to NASCAR, everybody at NASCAR Home Tracks for having me in the running for that award. So it's amazing.
Last time by, lap times were identical. That time by, Kayla Eshelman was faster. We'll see the white flag fly this time by. Can Eshelman get there? For $5,000, she throws it in hard, and she has a good run off of turn 4. White flag is in the air. Eshelman has one more shot. She throws it in hard to turn number 3, but Vargas keeps his foot on the gas. He'll come out of turn number 4 and take the victory in the Fall Spectacular at Irwindale Speedway.
And it was spectacular there at the end.
As you heard in that video clip, Ryan also competed in the 100-lap fall shootout at Irwindale Event Center, where he battled door to door and raced his way into Victory Circle and brought home the $5,000 paycheck. It doesn't get any better than that. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it will be our first Track of the Week segment. So sit tight, and we'll return with Kenny Shepard, owner of Madera Speedway.
I'm JDRF.
I am JDRF. I'm JDRF because...
I am JDRF.
Because... Type 1 diabetes is hard. I am JDRF because I advocate.
Because I am helping research progress.
Because I am part of a community of hope.
Because I believe we can find a cure.
I'm JDRF because I'm gonna beat this.
Type 1 diabetes won't hold me back.
We are JDRF.
We are JDRF because we do big things.
We are JDRF
because they're the ones at the front lines doing what we need.
Every morning when I wake up, I am JDRF.
I am JDRF because I want an artificial pancreas. Because I am the mother of a type 1.
Because I am a fighter. Because I believe in them.
Because I want my kids to say they used to have diabetes.
Because I want to help others.
Because I believe we're all working together.
Because together we can build a community.
Helping to just raise awareness for type 1 diabetes.
I am JDRF because I want to see a world where type 1 becomes
type none diabetes. I am JDRF because I want a cure.
Hi, I'm Rod Wortham with Raceface Brand Development, the home of Raceface University. I have a question for you. Beside me, there are two boxes. One has a set of new tires in it, and the other, a notebook. With over 100 years of combined experience and successes in driver development, coaching, media, marketing, and branding. Which one would you choose? If you selected box 1, then I hope that set of new tires will carry you through the entire 2018 season. If you pick number 2, then I encourage you to check out racefaceuniversity.com, where you will find an opportunity that might change your racing career forever. It's all up to you.
Hey, it's Andrew with School Choice Week, and I want to invite you to participate in a really cool event. It's called Celebrate Youth, taking place January 27th from 10 to 2. That's January 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Pasco County Safety Town. It's a community-based School Choice Week event, and you can meet with folks from all across the community and have a lot of fun. So January 27th, 10 to 2, Pasco County Safety Town. Hope you can attend.
Welcome back. As I said before the break, tonight is our first of a series called Track of the Week. Our first stop, Madera, California, where we find nestled in the heart of the agricultural area in California, about 245 miles northeast of Los Angeles and 165 miles southeast of San Francisco, California, right in the heart of the city, we find Madera Speedway, a 1/3 mile asphalt oval. We are privileged to have track owner Kenny Shepard with us tonight. Welcome to the show, Kenny.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Oh, we're more than happy to be here. I really enjoyed my trip out there to be able to spend, I guess I was there for about 4 days, but it was an amazing trip. And I tell everybody, I said, I've never really seen a track operator, owner, work as hard as you did when I was out there. So that was very impressive. I love to see the fact that you were so hands-on with everything that was going on.
Even in my the highlight of my racing days, I used to get those comments a lot where I would work, whether I would shoot TV commercials. I was the front guy, obviously, as the race car driver, but I would work as hard as I could with my crew. And I think that comes from some of my Midwest upbringing. You know, most of my family's Iowa corn farmers, very hardworking people. My dad was military, and it's just, you know, every person has to pull their weight.
I think it's the Midwest thing. I'm from the Midwest too, so we're going to go with that. I think that sounds really cool. So let me ask a question about Madera, a little bit about the history of the track. When was the track actually opened up? I know it, from what I understand, it started off to be a dirt track.
Yeah, it was a dirt track. Actually, prior to World War II, they built it across the street where there's now a Walmart. But it was across the street in 43, 44, I believe. And then it became an active dirt track after World War II. And from there, it moved across the street in 1971 and was originally going to be a dirt track at the current location at the Madera Fairgrounds, and it became a pavement track. And it's operated since 1971 at the current location. So quite a history of racing in that territory.
Yeah, that's got to have seen a lot of great drivers come in and out of there. So how long have you actually owned the track?
2006, I actually, in 2004, became involved with a group of people out here in California. I was racing the Southwest Tour cars and some K&N West cars, and became very active. We started to lose racetracks, as you probably know, from Saugus to El Cajon and Mesa Marin, and all these tracks started to go away. And I became very interested in what was going on. It was never my dream or my thoughts to become a track promoter or track owner. But in 2004, going into 2005, we developed a plan to save the old Altamont racetrack. 2006, we activated that, purchased it, remodeled it. And at the end of 2006, it was announced the Madera Speedway, the state of California was closing that facility, and there was going to be a commercial development. So there was a big movement by the race teams and the racing community, and basically they got behind me or came and got me and said, hey, let's save this racetrack, and that's what we did.
Well, that's pretty cool. So how many different types of classes do you actually have running there? I know that the weekend that I was there, you had quarter midgets on the smaller track behind you. You had, I think, 2 different series of late models, and then the junior late models, and some bandoleros were running. So, and the modifieds too.
Yeah, there's pretty much Madera was famous from the Gearharts and the Vukovic's. So the IndyCar connection from the Fresno market, that's really in the Kearney Bowl days. Super modifieds, that's really where the track was famous, or what it was famous for. So it really evolved from super modified racing, just thriving in the 70s, 80s, into the early 90s. A lot of sprint car USAC activity, a lot of midget activity, and late model activity as well, but more so on the open wheel side. Right now, we really have a mix, and what we've developed is a mixture of, we have late model nights, we have open wheel nights, and then we have nights we mix the two together. We do a little bit of everything there, but the passion, the heart and soul is certainly growing the talent from the West Coast, and that's where the junior late models and the late models have become the premier divisions, with a lot of classes feeding into providing talent to those divisions.
Yeah, I know it was kind of something that I learned about that area when I came out. I did not realize how agricultural driven that area is. So you think of, I think everybody thinks of California, you think of Los Angeles and San Francisco and the big city and everything. And when I came in out there, to be truthful, coming from the Midwest, again, I was pleasantly surprised at really the landscape of that area and everything.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, and I kind of laugh a little bit, because in my driving days, when I would travel back to the Midwest or race in different places around the country, the perception was always, hey, surfer boy, or hey, you guys out in California sure talk fast, and it's all San Francisco, Santa Cruz, Hollywood type things. And I would tell them, no, if you came to the flyover country of California, Central California, it's very much like Iowa and the Midwest to me because it is agriculture based. There's a big work ethic here. There's a tremendous amount of hardworking people. It's not the rich territory of California, but it's the hardworking territory. So it's very much like the Midwest here.
Yeah, and I saw that too, just going around talking to people. I saw it in the pit areas that when somebody would have troubles, everybody was pitching in to help, even though you're getting ready to go out and compete against the guy in the next race. There was a lot of that camaraderie that in a lot of areas you don't see that.
Yeah, I agree, and that's something we've become very famous for, especially 2006 to 9, it was really survival mode to keep the Speedway open. Then I began to redevelop and repave the Speedway, build new restrooms, and basically redevelop the grounds. And as it was just the big racing family came together, and like we were talking about before, and even this last weekend at our banquet, it's the camaraderie is everywhere. And the success of the Speedway, I get a lot of credit for it and being the brains behind a lot of the ideas, but it's really the family, this racing family that's out here that was just starving for something to wrap their arms around and push forward. And I think a lot of what's right about motorsports is happening right now at the Madera Speedway.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let me ask you a question. What, in your opinion, what really makes Madera track unique to some of the other tracks that are around the country?
Well, I think, we focus so much on the cars, we focus so much on the shape of the track, but it's the people, and it's what makes it special. Madera, the track itself, like any of the tracks, Darlington being a famous track for being unique and difficult to race on, Madera has little specific things that even when I repaved it in 2012, we kept. But there were tracks that certainly influenced me, Tucson being one, so we tri-banked the track and did some different things to it to make it more racy. But I think over the years, when you have Tony Stewart's race there. So many. You talk about Jeff Gordon, the quarter midget track. Jeff raced the quarter midget track behind it. Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch. I raced fought for a championship with Kurt Busch in 1999 at the Madera Speedway, and Kurt won that race. I was fighting Doug McCown for second. And so you just go back. There's so much traditions, and it's just a really racy track. But probably the number one thing is the people. It's a family atmosphere. It's a park-like setting right there in the middle of town. So there's RVs and kids running around. It's a different atmosphere, and it's always really been that way.
I thought that was one of the most unique things that I found when I got there. Checked into the hotel, really didn't know where I was going. And I said, so give me some directions on how to get to the track. And it was kind of like, well, just go out the parking lot, make a left, go down to the first street, make a right, and you're there. And it was very unique that it's really hubbed right there in the center of town. And you kind of saw that with everybody. I saw a lot of different signs up at the different restaurants and fast food places, welcome race fans. So it really did have that very home track feeling, if you would.
Well, and I think something that's very special, and initially in 2006, when the Madera was my first pavement track. I'd raced dirt prior to that, but I always call it my home pavement track. But in 2006, when I got there, the community wasn't real friendly. They were ready to close the facility down. And there's been a big effort the last 10 years to connect with the community. Certainly the bigger races, the televised races, selling out motels, a lot of the charities, the banquet we did this past Saturday night that I previously mentioned, all the proceeds from that banquet go to Children's Hospital and the Madera County Rescue Mission. So there's been a big effort on our behalf, but it's they're really receiving the rewards of what a small town. And the other thing, I was just speaking with some friends about Irwindale that's closing, and another challenge, and we've got Roseville that's in trouble right now. We're trying to figure out how to save that track up in Sacramento. And a very big part of Madera is the fact that it is a rather poor community. So racing has been able to save itself in Madera by selling out hotel rooms and filling up restaurants. They really appreciate the revenue. They really appreciate the support in the Madera community for the charities.
Yeah, I know when I was out there, getting a hotel room was a difficult task because people were literally everywhere. So all of the famous drivers that you've had there that you just mentioned, what would you say would be your most memorable race or story from that particular track?
I think there was a lot that the fans would be maybe a little bit different. My personal memory is probably a little different, but the Speedway is certainly famous for, and Tony Stewart came in and drove one of the super modifieds. He's a Cup star at that point, and he gets in this wild offset super and drives it from the back of the field to the front. That's still well talked about. Personally, my favorite is 1999. We had just a handful of races to go. This young kid, a very skinny young kid named Kurt Busch, was leading the points by a couple of points in the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour. I was trying to chase him down. And the kid, just every race, he got better and better. And we didn't know how good he was at that time. I knew a little bit from driving next to him or around him. But Kurt won that race that night, and probably wouldn't want me to tell the story, but he had his first beer later that night out behind the billboard with his car owner, Craig Q, and I. And Kurt was actually telling us about, well, heck, when this is over, I'm just going to go be an engineer for the Las Vegas Water Company. And we were trying to talk him into, hey, you're pretty good at this. You might want to stay with it. So that's probably personally my favorite story.
Yeah, well, that's some pretty good advice, because he did turn out to be pretty daggum good. So, and I know a lot of people, and I shouldn't say give you the credit, because that I know of, you are the first person to really kind of come up with what is now known as this Junior Late Model Series. And that has like attracted so much attention to that speedway, and the fact that you've got the TV deal with MAV. And you know, when I was out there personally, you see it on TV, but you don't really realize it till even the break. The break of that first race, and they all stopped, and I saw some of these kids get out of these cars. I'm like, my gosh, he's like 10. You know, and then of course Jesse did so well winning that championship at 12, but there's got to be some major satisfaction to that, and the success that you've had with that Junior Late Model Series.
I think the biggest asset I've always had in my life is I come up with pretty good visions, and whether it's been on the business side of my life, racing side, really the Junior Late Model thing, you're right. It's something I came up with that, and it actually happened in 2006 at Altamont towards the end of the season. Being friends with Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, both of their parents, friends with the Harvicks, I really saw firsthand and grew up in an era of racing when Ron Hornaday took off as an older driver, and Dale called him and he got a big ride. But for the most part, these kids, when they're 16 or 17, they've got to be ready to go, and there's tremendous pressure on them. And I just really I came up with that idea in 2006. Obviously, there was massive challenges to make it happen. And we really, we did a lot of testing all the way to 2014 and made it happen here last year. So yeah, I'm very proud of it, kind of being the father, or some of the kids call me grandfather of the junior series now as I've gotten older. But I'm very, very proud of it. And it's not just a race program. We nickname it or kind of joke it's more of a college of how to in stock car racing or in racing, because we do marketing seminars, we do television, how to do television interviews, how to take care of sponsors, how to activate, how to keep them happy, and to kind of a little bit of everything in racing. So yeah, I'm very proud of these kids when I watch them, and couldn't have been any more proud at the banquet. It was really the 5150 Junior Late Model kids that just shined on that stage. And from even a year and a half, 2 years ago, most of these kids were so afraid of a camera they couldn't speak. And through our staff and myself and Stephen Blakesley coaching them, they just shine. They're amazing. They're like little miniature cup drivers right now.
Yeah, they really are. And I can tell you that. I mean, I see interviews from that series when the drivers get out of the cars that's as good, if not better, than people that are twice their age. So kudos for that side of it. So let's talk about those young drivers a little bit. And it seems that one of the biggest things that people ask me, because we do have a little bit of the same passion for helping these young drivers out there, is what does it really take, and how can a young driver with talent build a career in motorsports today? Because motorsports as we know it, it's become so relied upon funding and money to be able to move forward. So these kids get so far, and the parents are kind of like, you know what, I've really taken you as far as I can. So what would be your suggestion to young race car drivers out there that are trying to make it in the sport today?
Well, what you're speaking to is why I'm a track promoter. It's why I have the TV show. We were told no, and it was an absolute obstacle at every turn. And so when I was told no, we couldn't have the TV show, I just figured out and started my own production company. And when they told us no, kids can't make it any longer, we just figured out a new path or a new way. Really, the world I come from, again, was Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, that era, them being a little bit younger than I am, and then Ron Hornaday being just a little bit older. And I watched when, friends with Ernie Irvan, and when Ernie made it just from pure talent. That was the days when you had a car and you had a sponsor and you needed to win. And what you're touching on, it has definitely become more of a who's got the money first over talent. They certainly want talent, they want performance, but it's money first, then talent these days, it seems. So what we've really created at Madera Speedway, and so many people, PRI Magazine's asking, I'm doing an interview later this afternoon with that magazine and another magazine. Really what they want to know is, what is the magic? How are you getting sea mains. How did you do this out there in California and really not really the hotbed of racing? And it's not about the cars, it's about the people. Provide opportunities for talent. Create a class. The success with our late model division is really very simplistic. We provide opportunity for talent to shine, and it's not money first, it's talent first. The rich teams are always going to be rich, and the well-funded teams will always be well-funded. So figure out a way at this particular level where the kids, their talent shines, and that's what we focused on. A lot of it, even at the banquet this weekend, there were several of the kids that afterwards said, "Hey, this is as far as I can go, because I don't have a rich grandpa, or I don't have, we don't have $1 billion." And I motivate them. That's not the case. Just, talent means everything. It's just putting yourself in the right position, the right connections, marrying yourself to the right marketing partners, and magical things can still happen.
And that's what we teach, the same thing. We teach the branding side of it. Start branding when you're young. I'm excited. I'm going to be going out to Vegas here in a couple of weeks for that quarter midget show that actually I met all of those people when I was down there in Madera, and they actually invited me to come out. So I'm really looking forward to that. And the other thing that I see about Madera Speedway is how much attention that you guys pay towards the fans, to making sure that the fans have an unbelievable experience at your track, from being able to go down and decide whether or not the field's going to be inverted, and getting to meet the drivers, coming down halfway through some of the different races and being able to go out on the track, and that's huge. I know that when I grew up at a track, Tri-City Speedway right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, we had some of that, but that was back in the early 60s, and a lot of that has gone away. But when I got out there, I saw that in every single instance, how you were engaging the fans. I know you had something called the Pumpkin Smash going on around Halloween, and I've seen videos where, it's almost like the Joey Chitwood show at Madera Speedway. So I know that it's all about fan entertainment there as well.
Yeah, it's very important. I think we've lost track of that, frankly, and not to be too blunt, but sometimes when the rest of the entertainment world has continued to move and grow and go forward and become so amazing, look how great our home living rooms are, these TVs. We've got to improve the experience at our racetracks, and pretty much my mindset's always we're competing against the movie theater, not against other racetracks. And we're competing against basketball and baseball. One of the things I do, I'll go and I'll attend other sports, and I take a lot of notes on what's fun. And when your local AAA baseball game can be 12-1 and the most boring game there is, but they're doing enough things with mascots and music and engaging the crowd to keep them involved, we need to take a lesson in that. So it's really just my spirit and my competitive spirit to pick on the other sports. As well as when I'm the biggest race fan there is, I want to be entertained. I don't want to be bored. Now, with that said, I'm also a purist. I'm a grassroots short track racing. I thrive on short track racing. So when I say I'm a purist, we've had so many opportunities with the TV show that we've started to kind of morph it into a reality show, and we won't do that. It's about the racing. And I think our racing is still so entertaining, it sells as well as anything.
Well, it does, and I mean, we've had some of our drivers there. Of course, Jesse ran there, Adam Lemke, Ryan Vargas has been there. Buddy Shepard, who won the Pro Division Championship there this year. So you put on a great program there. Like I said, we need more track owners just like you. I think that the sports would be in really good hands. So as we start to wrap up this segment, what can fans look forward to in 2018 that you might have like a little surprise coming for them?
Well, at the banquet, my wife rolled her eyes when that topic came up, and it's as everyone knows that knows me, I'm very motivated, very passionate. Bigger and better is what we always say. So pretty much what we have in 2018 at the Madera Speedway, this past year we had 8 televised nights, which produced 16 episodes on MAV TV, 8 of the 5150 Junior Series and 8 RPM Mortgage Pro Late Model Series races. This next year there will be 9 nights of television production for 18 episodes, plus a documentary that we're producing on both of our champions next year. So again, just building bigger brands of our drivers. The other thing that I do that's kind of unseen or unheard is I'm constantly on the telephone with other West Coast racetracks, and that's even a bigger effort this off season. As I mentioned, Irwindale is closing. The Roseville Speedway, All-American Speedway, is pretty much in trouble right now, so we're spending a lot of time up there. So in the 2018, you'll see even more behind-the-scenes activity from myself and my staff to help motivate and help these other racetracks kind of move back to the forefront.
Well, Kenny, if there's anything that we can help do from here from Raceface Brand Development, just call out to us. We love what you guys are doing. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today and join us, and we look forward to having you back on one of our other episodes.
And anytime, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing and the focus on the youth, because it's certainly the future. And too many people are not optimistic. I'm very optimistic about motorsports, and a lot of it is because of the youth and the connections we've made. Our sport is in good hands with these kids, as you've seen.
I agree with that. I think there's more talent. I tell people that almost all the time. There's more talent in our sport today than any time that I've ever seen it in my lifetime.
I would absolutely agree. And again, optimism and being positive. And it's so easy to be negative, and that's really what I coach a lot of people, from fans to drivers to everyone in between, about motorsports. It's not about being negative. This sport's amazing, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah, well, again, Kenny, thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to seeing you back here. I hope all of you enjoyed our first Track of the Week segment, and I encourage you, if you live in the California area or visiting, make sure to put Madera Speedway on your list of things to do. Great racing, family friendly, and a true racer as a track owner. Make sure, if you have not liked our Facebook page, to please do so. If you missed any of our shows, you can catch them on demand at our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe, or on racefacetv.com. Well, that's it for this week's show, and as always, I encourage you to support local racing in your community. Go out there, make it a great race weekend, and we'll see you here next week. And if you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, then click on subscribe. Want to catch up on some episodes that you might have missed? Then tap on demand. That's it for this week, and as always, go out and support racing at your local track.